Welcome to the Hey Rhona Podcast. Let's talk life and leadership. Each week, Rhona talks with high-capacity leaders about how their hardest seasons shape the way they lead and love today. We often keep struggles in the shadows while we lead, but those stories, they shape us. Our goal is to look back and see how we were shaped in the struggle. It's time to ask, what actually grew when life felt dark? Welcome to the conversation.
My name's Tonya, and I currently live in Fort Mill, South Carolina. We have 2 grown children. They're married, and we have 3 grands. So that's pretty amazing to get to see them and be a part of their lives, but not be the parent. Just to spoil them and then, hug them, love on them, send them on their way. So that's been fun. Gosh, I've been in healthcare for 15 years and have loved helping women. It's been in the field of mammography. And so just partnering with them, whether it be through screening and early detection, or whether it's through procedures and biopsies and actual breast cancer diagnosis, and kind of guiding them through what those next steps would be and kind of being a part of their process. So I was been doing that for the last 15 years. And then as much as I loved being a part of women's health and impacting them in that way, I wanted to kind of be able to take it a step further and be able to do that in more of a life wellness through fitness, emotional health, spiritual health, that type of thing. And then that kind of led me to pursue coaching opportunities and what, certification would look like and what starting a business would look like in order to continue to help people, but just maybe in a different way, in a maybe more, I would say, well-rounded way, but in an opportunity to speak to them and their needs in an area of growth that they might be interested in.
I know you're doing like the motion, movement, exercise classes, all of that now with coaching, where you're already kind of doing some of that.
Good question. So when the kids were starting to go to college and I found I had a lot of extra time on my hands, I decided to start pursuing hobbies. Okay. And I wasn't really sure what that looked like because, when you have a family, it's kind of just a given what you're doing on nights and weekends. And so it was kind of an opportunity just to explore and see what I was interested in, what maybe things in the past that I would enjoy pursuing, but just didn't have the time. And so a friend invited me to go to the gym and take some classes. And I wasn't an athlete or any, super go-getter in that way. So I wasn't really sure where it was going to go. But I started taking spin classes and I really enjoyed that environment, just being kind of in a dark room with a loud music, kind of having more stamina and endurance. But then over time, it definitely became something that I now really rely on for support in my mental health as well. So it's been about, 10, 15 years. But after a couple of years of really getting into that and seeing the difference that it made physically and emotionally and creating some friendships in that environment, then I decided to start teaching. So I've been with YMCA for, again, several years, and the community that our spin classes created, and we do things outside of the workout room as well. And it's just been a whole new world that honestly I did not expect when I started to kind of pursue interests and what that would look like. And it's just turned into a passion then as I saw how it helped me kind of push towards some things or through some things that were difficult in life, being able to kind of use it as an opportunity to help others do the same.
That's awesome. I love that you've been doing it so long and that you started out just doing it as a hobby. That's super cool. I think it's cool. You're kind of good at that, like taking up hobbies, right? Because
I guess so.
Project you're working on, right? What is it that you're working on now?
Right. Recently, I used to play drums in high school. Again, very minimal, like not crazy pep band, which was a small Christian high school. So just kind of everybody was able to be a part of whatever there was to offer. And at the time, it was either geography class or band. So I felt like I could find something in band that I could do. So it was an easy segue. So all that to say is that I have always thought it would have been amazing to do like a full-on drum set, kind of learn all the hands, the feet, getting a little bit more into it. So at the beginning of the year, I reached out and I found a teacher and I've been taking drum lessons. It's kind of funny that, when I started pursuing that and finding out what lessons looked like, they're like, well, how old is your son or daughter? And I'm like, well, it's for me. And I'm like, almost 55. So it was pretty funny. And in the lessons, when I'm leaving, there's like a little guy that's like 4 or 5 and he is so cute. And I just really want to take a picture of him because he's just like, it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm with the littles, but I'm embracing the opportunity to learn.
I love it. So on this season, like pits, things that we go through that are dark or sometimes hard in life that we didn't always see coming. And then kind of that process of coming out of that and getting to a better place, how that's really shaped the way we live and love the people in our lives today, and how the stories in life that we don't always talk about have shaped so much of who we are. And a lot of times those stories have stayed silent, and it's not necessary to go around and tell everybody we're working with why we do what we do, or why we think what we think, and why we love people the way we do, or have tolerance for things that some people might not. The goal is to look at leadership through that lens and create a space where maybe people who haven't gone through the things that we've gone through create some awareness. And if they're in a season like that, that they're not alone. So I will let you go wherever you want to with this, but I would love to pitch it to you, and you just share whatever you feel like's on your heart of things that you've gone through in life that you feel like have shaped.
Gosh, how much time do we have? No, just kidding.
Well, we're supposed to do 30 to 40 minutes, but if you want to go.
Right? No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, I would say kind of starting from the current and then reflecting back on the past, I guess, is with the primal question and that framework. And really what led me last year to pursue more in the coaching arena and to really dig deeper is the idea that, again, whether the wellness or the fitness or that is a desire of someone, they could have had many reasons that's setting them back that they're not even aware of, in terms of their primal question and how that kind of plays into our mindset and our limiting beliefs and our scramble and all those things that, again, can hold us back. And if you don't know what that is, it's hard to overcome it. Yeah. And so through the process, really the primal coaching and learning more personally, we do the quiz, and my primal question is, am I wanted? And that has really led when you're growing in comfort zones. And sometimes you kind of get to that place where you're like, okay, I think I'm at a good place. And then something else kind of happens in our lives or comes across our radar that we're like, oh my gosh, like I have so much more learning to do. Or it just connects the dots in a way that is new and different and maybe healing, for looking back on those missteps as an opportunity that was there for growth rather than an opportunity that we can hold on to as something that we may feel shameful for or regret. And so really with the primal question and kind of then looking back at how I grew up in our home, my sister and I, there were several marriages and divorces, and through those experiences, some relationships were abusive, some were through alcoholic tendencies. And so there was just a lot of unknowns and a lot of, I would say, chaos. And so because of that, that left that feeling of, am I wanted? How do I need to show up to make sure that these people accept me and want me and love me? And if I act a certain way and do all the things, then I will stay in that safe place. And if I don't, meet the expectations, then there's something wrong with me. And so the framework has really helped to kind of put some of that into perspective. And as I grew and started to kind of explore adolescence and teenage and all that stuff, then I really started to see other people and meet them through a church environment and saw that there was something different. And so in junior high, when I was really searching and looking for relationships and physical attention for that wanted and loving acceptance, that type of stuff. And whenever I saw that there was something different and there was a community out there that just liked me for me, and took me as I am and was loving and accepting. And I would use the term, like unconditional. That was amazing. That was eye-opening that there was a space for that in the world, and that it wasn't based on what you did or what you had to offer, but just who you were. So that was amazing. And that led me to go to a Christian high school, which had a lot of great memories. As I was ready to finish high school, there were some things that, again, what now we would refer to as like the scramble, or things that your question is not being answered in the way that you need. And so you start to act in a certain way to get those yeses and to feel that love and wanting. And so again, I was in a physical relationship, and I ended up becoming pregnant unexpectedly right before graduation. And in that environment, from upperclassmen, that happened to, it was kind of pushed to the side. They had to leave the school, like nobody talked about it. It was very much something that was not taken in with love and acceptance, and that you're not a bad person. You made a bad choice, but we still love you and forgive you. And God is still can be a part of your story in a positive and healing way. And that wasn't there. And because of that, I ended up having a miscarriage 3 or 4 months later, but everyone at that point had already known what had happened and all the things. And because of the shame and guilt that really I felt, like I didn't feel it worthy of God's love. Even if someone said, He loves you, He forgives you, I was just like, I don't deserve that. And so because of that, I just kind of stayed under the radar. I didn't tell anyone about that experience. I really didn't show up 100% the way I should have or could have, because I didn't feel that if they did know that I had made that mistake, that they would want me or love me. So it took 10 years really before I shared that in confidence with a friend. And the fact that they accepted me and really didn't minimize that happening, but shared some things that they went through as well. And it just took some of that kind of shame away, and some of that acceptance that I felt then led me to feel more open to share with others and use that as an opportunity instead of just keeping quiet and, again, kind of harboring all of those feelings, to be able to share it with others in the hope that we could connect in a new way and give them that reassurance that I've been there. I understand it's hard. God still loves you, and you're still worthy and important and loved. And it was a moment in time that happened, but that there's so much healing and growth and helping of others by sharing that story. And as a result, I think I'm very good at loving unconditionally, because I do know what it's like to have a mistake or do something that was a regret, and to know that we've all been there. But in terms of people, we're all flawed and we all make mistakes every single day, and that we're forgiven and freed and can use that as an opportunity for healing and growth rather than shame. So I think, thankfully, due to the primal question and just maturing and learning more about myself, that's really helped to kind of review some of those situations in a light that makes me feel more reassured that there was a reason to kind of the actions or the searching or the longing is just who God created me, and knowledge is power. So now I can hopefully help others in that, to see what their question is and how to get answered with a yes and be more freed from it as a result.
Yeah, it brings so much peace when you have that understanding as to what's driving it and causing things, especially when we look back. Because otherwise that regret just kind of like follows us, I feel like. We feel like we're trying to just justify, or, like we're not really sure still with our own story of trying to like console ourselves in a way. We still don't always have that peace that we really are looking for. And we can find that by like knowing who God is and trusting. But at the same time, I feel like with Primal Question, you get so much more clarity as to like what that actually was internally that was needing to be met. First of all, I'm sorry you went through that. And then second of all, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that it's just really beautiful, like even knowing about Primal Questions and hearing your story and seeing how you've used that and turned that around. Even before knowing about Primal Question, you had already gone into a field where you were helping women and being there like in this kind of like nurturing way to walk with them through difficult seasons. But now too, with Primal Question, you being able to make that connection and realize how you like to offer that unconditional love for people, to be able to come from a place of understanding and not just having compassion for someone, but actually having empathy towards what somebody's going through, even if it's not identical to what you've gone through. And so what's some things that you would recommend for people who are in a position of leadership? Maybe that's not their natural inclination to offer unconditional love. What are some things that you can look back and say, I wish I would have had X, Y, and Z, or these are things I want to make sure that I'm providing for other people, whether it's through words that you're saying or just mindsets that sometimes come with that culture that can create a lot of separation and confusion for people who are going through difficult seasons?
That's a good question. I would say, let's say in leadership or with you're working with someone or it's a friend or a neighbor, just giving them kind of your undivided attention, just really seeing them as an individual, to know that, we all come from hard things and giving them space to share and without judgment. I mean, sometimes we might not understand why, but it doesn't mean that we can't have empathy and compassion and love for that person. I would just say, just really being a good listener and just being present with them can make a big difference. Letting them know that they're supported and what they need, you're there to provide, and really finding out what that is. Is that more support? Is that more encouragement? Is that more affirmation? Is that just helping them know that they're doing the right thing or they're in the right place? And just kind of giving them that reassurance that they're needing at that time and just being open and willing to be receptive.
That's great. And what would you say to somebody who's maybe still young and going through something like that, or somebody who's like already older and grown through those things, but still maybe struggling in silence and maybe hasn't ever shared or still walks with like some shame and struggles internally, you know, with decisions that they've made and regret? Not that it has to be the same story, but like just that wrestle with regret and where they're at in life. What would you say to them?
That is a great question. And that is something that I've found as I've been a little more open or had conversations about things that I've experienced. Ladies in my similar age group have shared as well that there was maybe a first marriage or an unplanned pregnancy or some other things that maybe they dealt with that, like you said, that they just were not able to share for whatever reason, didn't feel comfortable sharing. So I would just encourage them to be bold and to take a breath and to know that there are people that love them and want to know them and want to come alongside of them, to not have to carry that shame because it's so heavy. It's just something for 10 years. Like, again, we just stay small. We stay, kind of at arm's length from people because we are nervous about what they're thinking or what they're going to, if they only knew the real us kind of thing. And that's not the way to live. And honestly, if you share something with someone that you feel is safe or you would like to show them, maybe it's a family member, and for some reason they don't understand, then that's on them. You can't take the weight of what others' opinions are on. You just have to live to your true self and to live to what you feel God is leading you to do. And maybe it's breaking free from kind of that bondage or that regret and that pain. And just thinking, if you started to share the confidence that you have from the freedom that you're feeling because you aren't living under that shame umbrella, if you will. So for that person, I would just say, just pray about it. Like, find a safe person. Let them know you need to be vulnerable. You need to share something, that you're afraid, that you may be a little bit anxious about it. I'm 99% sure that once it's out there, the person is going to be accepting and loving and understanding and walk with you and be, like you were empathetic towards their story and reassure them that they're not alone and it's worth sharing more of because that's who they are. And that was what made them them. And the opportunities for growth as a result of coming out from under that weight is huge. I just can't even tell you how important it is to start having that dialogue with at least one person to start moving forward in a new way.
I like that a lot. I like to, like when you were saying that, if someone doesn't receive it well, to like that's on them. And I think too that sometimes people try once or twice to reach out to someone and it's not received well. And so then we're like, oh yeah, it's not safe. And we pull back. And then we just kind of, like you said, keep everybody kind of at a distance. And so I think I would want to encourage people too to keep trying to reach out and stay brave, because there are people that are going to be more understanding. And whether you give all the details or you just are intentional to continue to keep people close to you, like, and over time gain that trust and build trust till you find the right community, because ultimately that's what we all need.
Yes.
Not just to let what's happened create like these gifts, but to really walk in that freedom. And like you said, at least one or two people that we're able to voice that with. I know you're really big into movement. What are some practical tips that you would give somebody, again, who's working through something like this, whether it's current or from their past? I know, like when we look at like the Body Keep Score and all of these different resources, there's a lot of science behind the importance of moving when we're working through traumatic things that have happened in our lives or are happening currently. So what are some tips that you would give somebody to implement?
Okay. I would say one, make it a priority. Make time for it. I know we're all busy and we all feel like there's so many things to do that I can't fit in more time for like a fitness opportunity or a wellness, moving your body, like you said. But it is so important. So I would say make yourself a priority, make that time for you a priority, even if it's at a lunch hour or first thing in the morning or a little bit in the afternoon. Just start with what you can and what you have. I feel like a lot of ladies get a little caught up in, I don't have the equipment at home, or I don't have money for a membership, or the gym that I would like to go to is far away, or my husband or spouse doesn't support me in that. And so trying to take away all those barriers and just starting with that first step. So if you have 5 minutes, go out for a walk for 5 minutes. If you're able to dedicate 30 minutes, dedicate that 30 minutes. And do something that's enjoyable. Again, I feel like we're kind of ingrained to it has to be hard and fast, and we have to work up a sweat, and it has to really show, that we were getting crazy in our workout. But I believe as well, science and the more learning that we understand that like a brisk walk or a nature hike or a bike ride, those types of things can be just as valuable physically, but then as well mentally. And I get so many ideas and through just walking, like, oh, if I'm stuck on something, I need to walk away. I'll go walk around the block or, take 20 minutes. And when I come back, my mind is clear. Usually there's some things that I've been mulling over that have come to light. And I'm an overthinker. So sometimes too, just stepping away and getting out of your head is important too. So I would just be encouraged to think about what kind of like the hobbies that we talked about. What do you enjoy? Is it being out in nature? Is it going to a gym and watching TV while you're doing a treadmill? Is it playing outside with your kids and just running around and playing tag and getting some interaction and time with them can be a part of getting physical as well. So starting with something like that and then see where it leads. I would not practice, but the more consistent we become, it does start to become a habit. And you're like, gosh, I kind of enjoy the sunshine. I like listening to my earpods and have uninterrupted time doing something that's enjoyable for you. And then that might lead to pursuing other types of ways to move your body and to create community outside of our workspace or our family life.
That's awesome. I love that you said that. Just take the first step. I remember when the kids were little, I had 3 little ones at home and just being in this like weird place because I just had the 3rd baby. And every day at 4:00, I would feel like, oh gosh, I'm feeling really weird. And so we started like consistently, we had a little wagon. And so we put the wagon at the front door and every day at 4:00, we'd be like, okay, it's almost 4, like let's start moving. And we'd walk outside. But one of the things I read back then was like the importance of just like being on the grass or on the ground, like barefoot. And so we had this backyard with an avocado tree and whatever. And so I would also try to go outside when I would start feeling that way and just stand on the grass. And I could feel like just immediately, like I would start feeling better. And then I would start walking around the yard and then we'd pick some avocados. And, it was like a very basic thing that I could feel it shift so much. And so I think that being intentional and the awareness too, of knowing that, I think once you do it a few times, then you start seeing the effects of it, and then it just starts to become easier. Is there anything else you would like to dive into or share before we wrap up?
I would just love to remind everyone that growth is not linear. We see lots of things, on social media or just in general that it's kind of up and down and up and down. And so I feel like those times that when we are a little frustrated or down, to just know that sometimes that's just part of growth. And it doesn't mean that we're not moving forward or that we're not where we're not supposed to be or where God is calling. But sometimes it's just an opportunity to learn more about ourselves and to just keep pushing. And in this season, as I've transitioned from healthcare to coaching and learning more about myself and then taking those steps out of a comfort zone into newsletters and podcasts and maybe, speaking engagements, it's like, oh my gosh, again, sometimes you think those comfort zones, you should feel safe, but when you do things to kind of push out of them, it's kind of like starting over a little bit. So I've had to kind of be a little bit of a cheerleader in a way for myself to be like, okay, like it's okay to feel nervous. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to step into the unknown, knowing that you'll become stronger and more resilient as a result. So whether it's like we talked about physical fitness, if it's emotional things, trauma that you're trying to work through, just know that some days you're going to feel like you are rocking it. And then other days will be like, oh my goodness, like what was I thinking?
Yeah.
And that is totally normal, and to not give up and to not feel like something's wrong and that you're not where you shouldn't be. It's just knowing that it's a day and tomorrow is going to be better, and pushing those boundaries is going to make a huge benefit in the long run. So it's worth it.
I love that. One thing I like to ask everybody as we're wrapping up is what their big message is to the world. Like the people that you're interacting with just on a daily basis, what is it that you want people to know about themselves?
There's so many. The one thing, I would say just that they're worthy. They're loved and worthy, and, God has a plan, and we don't always know what it is, or maybe sometimes question that plan, but just knowing that He is perfect and present in our lives and is guiding each step towards a beautiful story. So that's what I would say, just kind of that broken to be made beautiful, that all of our pieces of our lives are going to be woven together to be beautiful.
Do you ever feel like personal development isn't getting to the root? Primal Question Coaching takes a different approach. Take Rhona's free Primal Question Assessment at heyrhona.com and join our free monthly call, both linked in the show notes. If you're struggling, reach out to a friend, find a therapist, or connect with Rhona at hey.rhona. If this helped you, share it and leave a 5-star review. Rhona reads every one. Until next time, cheers to hope and healing.